Gentlemen, in a world where dating advice is often built on manipulation, games, and fleeting charm, I offer you something different, an approach grounded in wisdom, self-mastery, and authenticity. If you want to attract a woman and make her genuinely fall in love with you, stop chasing illusions. Instead, become a man who is worthy of love. Before you seek the admiration of a woman, you must first admire yourself. Not in a shallow or egotistical way, but through genuine self-respect and self-mastery. Too many men make the mistake of believing that love or attraction is something to be pursued outwardly, as if women are prizes to be won through charm or clever tactics. The truth is, no lasting love can be built on an unstable foundation. If you do not first cultivate discipline, confidence, and purpose in your own life, any relationship you enter will be built on shaky ground. A man who does not master himself will always be a slave to his emotions, impulses, and insecurities. He will seek validation from women, allowing their reactions to dictate his sense of self-worth. This is a dangerous position to be in, because it places your happiness and confidence in the hands of others, making you dependent on their approval. A man who is desperate for attention or love is easily manipulated, easily hurt, and ultimately unattractive. Women do not respect a man who needs them to feel complete. They respect a man who is already whole. Self-mastery begins with discipline. This means taking control of your habits, your emotions, and your actions. If you lack discipline in your daily life, whether it's in your health, career, or personal growth, how can you expect to be respected in a relationship? A man who cannot control his desires will chase instant gratification, seeking pleasure over purpose. He will be impatient, easily frustrated, and constantly looking for external solutions to internal problems. Mastery means developing the ability to delay gratification, to work towards something greater, and to resist distractions that pull you away from your goals. Another key aspect of self-mastery is emotional control. A man who is reactive, who allows his emotions to dictate his behavior, will never command respect. If you become angry over small things, insecure when you don't get immediate attention, or jealous at the slightest provocation, you show weakness. Strength is not found in the suppression of emotions, but in the ability to manage them. A man who can remain calm under pressure, who does not allow his emotions to control him, becomes a source of stability in a world filled with chaos. This is the type of man a woman can trust and admire. Confidence is another natural byproduct of self-mastery. Real confidence is not built on arrogance or external validation, but on competence and self-assurance. When you are skilled, knowledgeable, and disciplined in your own life, you do not need to seek approval from others. You carry yourself with quiet assurance, knowing your worth without needing to constantly prove it. This is the kind of confidence that attracts, not because it is loud or boastful, but because it is unshakable. A man who has mastered himself does not need to chase, beg, or impress. He simply exists in a way that naturally draws others toward him. Finally, self-mastery involves having a purpose beyond relationships. If your entire existence revolves around seeking love, you become dependent on it for your sense of fulfillment. This is dangerous because it makes you needy, and neediness is one of the least attractive traits a man can have. A man with purpose, however, is different. He is driven by a deeper mission in life, whether it be in his work, his passions, or his personal growth. Women are naturally drawn to men who have a sense of direction, who are going somewhere with their lives. They want to be part of a journey that is already in motion, not the sole reason for a man's happiness. When you focus on mastering yourself first, love ceases to be something you chase. Instead, it becomes something you naturally attract. You will not feel desperate for validation because you will already know your worth. You will not fear rejection because your happiness is not dependent on any one person. And when the right woman comes along, she will recognize your value, not because you convinced her, but because it is undeniable. A fundamental principle of life is that not everything is within your control. Yet, many men exhaust themselves trying to force outcomes, especially when it comes to relationships and attraction. They obsess over how to make a woman like them, what to say to impress her, or how to ensure she never loses interest. This mindset is flawed because it places your sense of worth and success in the hands of another person's reactions, something you can never fully control. A truly strong man understands this and embraces a mindset of indifference toward what he cannot change. He does not waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, he focuses on what he can influence: himself, his actions, and his mindset. Indifference does not mean being careless or passive. It means understanding that external circumstances, including how a woman responds to you, are beyond your power. You can be the most confident, attractive, and accomplished man in the room, but if a woman is not interested, nothing you do will change that. She may be drawn to a different type of man, may already be in love with someone else, or may simply not feel the chemistry you do. Trying to convince her otherwise is a waste of time and energy. The man who understands this does not dwell on rejection. You need to think of her as different as possible. You do not need to slam doors in her face. He does not take it personally, because he knows it says nothing about his value, only about her personal preferences, which are beyond his control. A man who is indifferent to what he cannot control radiates confidence because he is unshaken by rejection or external circumstances. He does not crumble when things don't go his way, nor does he become desperate to prove his worth. He accepts life as it comes, adapting to situations with calmness and clarity. This mindset is incredibly attractive because it signals emotional strength. Women are drawn to men who do not seek validation or become easily frustrated when things don't go as planned. A man who remains unaffected by rejection or setbacks becomes intriguing because he shows he is secure within himself. One of the biggest mistakes men make is tying their happiness to the actions of others. They believe that if a woman shows interest, they are worthy. If she loses interest, they are not. This dependence on external validation leads to insecurity and desperation, two traits that are inherently unattractive. But when a man adopts an indifferent mindset, he no longer seeks approval. He understands that his worth is not determined by whether or not one particular woman likes him. He moves through life with the understanding that attraction is not something to be forced, but something that happens naturally when the right connection exists. Indifference also extends beyond dating into all aspects of life. People will misunderstand you, judge you, and sometimes dislike you for no apparent reason. The more you try to win their approval, the more power you give them over your emotions. The man who is indifferent to unnecessary opinions remains unbothered. He does not argue to prove his worth, nor does he feel the need to change himself to fit someone else's expectations. He focuses on his own values, his own path, and his own growth. This does not mean you should be unkind or dismissive, but rather that you should not let things beyond your control dictate your emotions. If a woman ghosts you, if someone insults you, or if life does not go according to your plans, your reaction should always be the same: calm acceptance. The more unaffected you are by things outside of your influence, the stronger you become. Strength is not found in trying to control the world, but in mastering your response to it. When you learn to let go of what is out of your hands, you gain freedom, peace, and a level of confidence that is rare and powerful. Many men believe that talking more will make them more attractive, more respected, or more influential. They think that if they say the right words, share enough impressive stories, or constantly express their thoughts, they will gain the admiration of others. In reality, the opposite is true. A man who speaks too much often loses respect. His words become noise rather than meaning. A man who speaks less but ensures that every word carries weight commands more attention, more respect, and more influence. When you constantly talk, especially about yourself, you diminish your own value. Words, like anything in abundance, lose their power when overused. A man who speaks too often about his accomplishments, his opinions, or his desires appears desperate for validation. Instead of impressing others, he reveals his insecurity. A truly confident man does not need to prove himself through endless words. He knows that his actions, his presence, and the few words he does choose to say will speak louder than any long-winded speech. One of the most powerful ways to influence others is through silence. Silence creates mystery. When you do not always express everything you think or feel, people become curious. They wonder about your thoughts, they seek your input, and they pay attention when you do speak. If you are always the one filling the silence, no one will ever feel the need to listen. But when you speak only when necessary, and when your words carry depth and meaning, people take notice. Another benefit of speaking less is that it allows you to listen more. Most people are not truly listening when others speak. They are simply waiting for their turn to talk. A man who listens deeply, who observes before speaking, gains an advantage over those who only seek to be heard. He understands people better, picks up on unspoken cues, and responds with precision rather than reaction. This ability makes him not only more attractive in social situations, but also more powerful in business, leadership, and life. When you do speak, ensure that your words matter. Instead of talking just to fill space, say things that carry meaning. Be direct, be clear, and do not waste words. A man who is intentional with his speech is respected, because people know that when he speaks it is worth listening to. He does not engage in gossip, does not boast about trivial things, and does not feel the need to impress with unnecessary words. His speech is disciplined, just as his actions are. Emotional control is another important aspect of this principle. A man who speaks too much often reveals too much. His frustrations, his fears, his weaknesses. When you immediately voice every emotion, you become predictable and easy to manipulate. But when you hold back, when you choose your words carefully, you maintain control over how others perceive you. A calm, measured response carries far more power than a loud or impulsive reaction. In relationships, speaking less and meaning more creates deeper attraction. Women are not drawn to men who constantly seek approval or try to impress them with excessive words. They are drawn to men who communicate with confidence, who know when to stay silent, and who express themselves with depth rather than quantity. When you are intentional with your words, you create impact. A simple statement, spoken at the right moment, can carry more weight than 1,000 empty words. Mastering this principle requires discipline, self-awareness, and patience. It means resisting the urge to fill every silence, to defend yourself unnecessarily, or to prove yourself with words alone. It means valuing your speech as much as you value your actions. A man who speaks less, but ensures his words carry weight, is a man who naturally commands respect, influence, and admiration. The world is full of uncertainty, chaos, and emotional turbulence. People are often overwhelmed by stress, fear, and the unpredictable nature of life. In such a world, men who are easily shaken by emotions, external events, or other people's opinions become lost in the storm. They react impulsively, crumble under pressure, and allow circumstances to dictate their mindset. A man who seeks to be truly strong, respected, and desired must become the opposite. He must be a pillar of stability. Being stable does not mean being emotionless or indifferent. It means having the ability to remain calm, composed, and controlled, regardless of what happens around you. A man who is a pillar of stability does not allow setbacks to break him, nor does he let minor inconveniences throw him off balance. He does not panic in moments of crisis, nor does he let success make him arrogant. His mindset remains steady, his emotions remain in check, and his presence becomes a source of reassurance for those around him. Women, in particular, are drawn to men who provide emotional security. This is not about financial stability or physical protection alone. It is about being a person who does not waver in the face of challenges. Many men make the mistake of thinking that being emotional, reactive, or overly expressive of their problems will earn them sympathy and connection. In reality, while openness is valuable, excessive emotional instability makes a man appear weak. A man who is constantly stressed, easily angered, or frequently complaining about life does not inspire confidence. But a man who remains calm, even in difficult situations, becomes someone others can trust and rely on. Stability is built through discipline and self-control. A man who lets his emotions dictate his actions will always be If he is happy only when life goes well and miserable when things go wrong, he is like a ship tossed by the waves, moving wherever the storm takes him. But a man who develops the ability to control his emotions, to think rationally before reacting, and to remain composed under pressure, becomes unshakable. He does not allow external events to dictate his inner state. He understands that chaos is inevitable, but his response to it is within his control. Another key aspect of stability is consistency. People respect and trust those who are predictable in their values, actions, and behavior. A man who constantly changes his opinions, switches his goals, or reacts differently to the same situation depending on his mood is unreliable. Women are particularly attuned to inconsistency. If one day you are confident and secure, and the next you are anxious and doubtful, you create confusion rather than trust. A stable man is one whose actions align with his words, whose temperament is steady, and whose presence is dependable. Stability also means having a strong sense of purpose. A man without direction, who drifts through life without clear goals or values, is unstable by nature. He is easily influenced by others, swayed by circumstances, and lacks the foundation needed to remain strong. A man who knows his purpose, however, cannot be easily shaken. His focus remains on his mission, and because of that he does not get caught up in unnecessary drama, emotional outbursts, or pointless distractions. His vision gives him clarity, and that clarity allows him to move through life with confidence. In relationships, stability is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. Women want to feel secure, not in a materialistic sense, but in the knowledge that the man they are with will not crumble under pressure. A woman should not have to wonder whether her partner will panic in a crisis, lash out in anger, or disappear when things become difficult. When she knows that the man by her side is strong, composed, and reliable, she feels safe, not because he controls her, but because she knows she can trust him. Being a pillar of stability requires effort and constant. It means developing emotional control, maintaining discipline, and staying true to your principles, even when faced with pressure. It means being someone who does not run from responsibility, who does not let fear dictate his actions, and who does not let chaos consume him. A man who embodies stability becomes someone that people admire, respect, and rely on, not because he is perfect, but because he refuses to be broken by the world around him. Many men make the mistake of centering their entire existence around relationships, believing that finding the right woman will bring them purpose and fulfillment. While love and companionship are important aspects of life, they should never be the foundation of a man's identity. A man who places all his value in a relationship loses himself in the process. He becomes dependent on another person for his sense of worth, which leads to neediness, insecurity, and ultimately dissatisfaction. To be truly strong, respected, and attractive, a man must cultivate a purpose that extends beyond relationships. Purpose is what gives a man direction. It is what drives him forward, keeps him disciplined, and helps him navigate life with confidence. Without it, he drifts aimlessly, constantly searching for validation in others. A man without purpose is easily swayed by emotions, distractions, and external circumstances. He lacks the grounding that allows him to stand firm in the face of challenges. On the other hand, a man who has a clear mission, whether in his career, personal growth, creative endeavors, or a larger vision for his life, moves with certainty and strength. Women are naturally drawn to men with purpose. This is not because of money, status, or power, but because a man with purpose is deeply fulfilled. He does not rely on a woman to complete him. He is already whole. When a man has a strong sense of direction, he becomes interesting and inspiring. He brings something valuable to the relationship rather than expecting the relationship to provide him with meaning. A man who lacks purpose often falls into the trap of over-investing in his partner, suffocating the relationship with his need for constant reassurance. This is a dynamic that eventually leads to loss of attraction and resentment. Cultivating purpose means setting goals that challenge you and bring out the best in you. It means dedicating time to your passions, developing new skills, and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. Whether it is building a business, mastering a craft, improving your physical health, or contributing to something greater than yourself, having a mission keeps you sharp and engaged with life. Purpose is not about impressing others. It is about becoming the best version of yourself. A man who is deeply focused on his growth naturally exudes confidence and charisma, making him far more attractive than someone who merely seeks approval. When a man places his purpose first, he becomes independent in the best way possible. He does not chase relationships out of loneliness or desperation, but rather, he allows the right people to naturally enter his life. A woman who sees that a man is focused on his goals and ambitions respects him more because he is not seeking fulfillment through her. he is already fulfilled and simply choosing to share his journey with someone rather than depending on them to provide him with meaning. This creates a dynamic of mutual respect, admiration, and genuine connection, rather than one built on neediness or emotional dependency. A relationship should be a complement to your life, not the center of it. If a man prioritizes his purpose, he remains strong even if the relationship ends. He does not fall apart or lose himself because he understands that his life's mission is greater than any single relationship. This level of self-reliance makes him not only more resilient, but also more desirable. People admire those who stand firm in their convictions and do not compromise their identity for the sake of temporary emotional fulfillment. Ultimately, cultivating purpose beyond relationships is about building a life that you are proud of, regardless of who is in it. It is about finding meaning in your work, your personal development, and your contributions to the world. Hubris. When a man embraces this mindset, he becomes a leader of his own life, someone who does not wait for external validation, but instead creates his own destiny. And in doing so, he becomes the kind of man who naturally attracts love, respect, and admiration, without ever having to chase it. Love should be a reflection of inner strength, not a desperate attempt to fill a void. Many men fall into the trap of believing that love is about proving their worth, clinging to a woman, or making her the sole purpose of their existence. This mindset does not lead to deep, lasting attraction. It leads to dependence, insecurity, and eventually the collapse of the relationship. A man who loves with strength approaches relationships from a place of confidence, self-respect, and emotional control. He gives love freely, but he never begs for it. He remains whole on his own, choosing to share his life with someone rather than relying on them for validation. Desperation in love comes from a place of fear, the fear of being alone, the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of losing someone. A man who operates from fear is constantly seeking reassurance. He overtexts, overcommits, and overanalyzes every interaction. He places his happiness in the hands of another person, which creates an unhealthy imbalance in the relationship. The more desperate he becomes, the less attractive he is. Desperation signals neediness, and neediness repels. When a man makes a woman the center of his world, he loses himself in the process, and over time, she loses respect for him. On the other hand, a man who loves with strength understands that love should be given, not chased. He does not beg for attention or affection because he knows his own worth. He does not sacrifice his dignity in an attempt to keep someone who does not want to stay. He respects himself too much to tolerate one-sided love, manipulation, or emotional games. His love is grounded in confidence, not insecurity. He is secure enough to express his feelings without fear, but he is also strong enough to walk away if he is not valued. A man who loves with strength does not try to control love, nor does he fear losing it. He understands that relationships are not about ownership, but about mutual respect and admiration. He does not seek to possess a woman, he seeks to connect with her. And because he does not operate from fear, he remains attractive. Women are drawn to men who are self-assured, who do not crumble at the first sign of difficulty, and who remain true to themselves no matter the situation. True love is built on respect, not desperation. If a man abandons his own needs, sacrifices his goals, or constantly seeks approval to keep a relationship alive, he is not truly loving, he is trying to survive. Love should not be a survival mechanism, it should be an extension of an already fulfilled life. A man who loves with strength has a full life outside of his relationship. He has purpose, ambition, and personal standards. He does not tolerate disrespect, nor does he place someone on a pedestal at the expense of his own self-worth. Strength in love also means handling challenges with emotional control. A man who cannot manage his emotions, who reacts impulsively, gets overly jealous, or becomes possessive, drains the relationship of trust and stability. A strong man understands that love is not about constant reassurance, but about shared growth. He does not panic over small conflicts or become desperate when things seem uncertain. Instead, he remains steady, knowing that his worth is not defined by any single relationship. The most powerful love is one that is given freely, without conditions, but never at the cost of self-respect. A man who loves with strength is not afraid to be vulnerable, but he also does not allow himself to be used. He is willing to invest in a relationship, but he does not lose himself in it. He remains true to his values, maintains his independence, and ensures that his love is based on mutual appreciation rather than emotional dependence. When a man learns to love with strength rather than desperation, he creates the kind of connection that is both passionate and enduring. He does not chase love because he does not need to. His presence alone is enough to attract it. And when he finds it, he nurtures it with confidence, self-respect, and a deep understanding that true love is not about clinging to someone, but about standing strong beside them. Love should never be about losing yourself to gain someone else. It should be an extension of your strength, not a desperate attempt to fill a void. A man who loves with confidence, self-respect, and emotional stability creates a relationship built on trust and admiration, not fear and dependency. When you understand that love is something to be shared, not chased, you naturally attract the kind of connection that is deep, lasting, and fulfilling. So stand firm in who you are, love with strength, and never compromise your dignity for the illusion of security. True love is never found in desperation. It is built on the foundation of self-worth and unwavering purpose.